listening to the Career Musician Podcast with creator and host, Nomad. With 20 plus years of experience in the music industry, Nomad has done just about everything to earn a living as a career musician. From being music director to celebrity artists, playing iconic arenas and stadiums, composing for film and TV, and even playing your average local club gigs, he's done it all. Nomad's mission is to empower musicians across the globe with strategies for a sustainable career while blasting stereotypes, and to bring you tried and true wisdom from his colleagues in this crazy business we call music.
Welcome to the episode premiere of Season 3 of the Career Musician Podcast by yours truly, Nomad. Manuel Romero, Latino crooner, is here with us today, and he talks about his early days on the mariachi festival circuit, tells us about his experience on America's Got Talent, and now his new signing with Warner Music Mexico in his brand new single, Aquí Me Tienes. Be sure to check out the video component of the Career Musician Podcast on YouTube, where Manuel Romero and I sit down right here at Nomad's place and jam out a little bit. Welcome to another episode of the Career Musician Podcast, hosted by yours truly, Nomad. Today, I am excited to have Manuel Romero. Manuel, welcome.
So happy to be here. Muy emocionado. Thank you for the invitation, and yeah, I'm just glad to be able to share a little bit of the Manuel Romero story with you guys.
I love it. I love it. All right, so let's get a brief history. Tell me about where you were born, where you were brought up, and a little bit about your family. And
yeah, I was born in San Jose, California. The Mexican American family. My dad's from Mexico City. My mom's from the U.S. And very shortly after I was born, we moved back to Mexico City with my dad's family, with my whole family. And I grew up there, went to school there, and music just was kind of not something that was pushed upon me or anything like that. It was just something that was so natural in our household. Family parties, it was like, I look around your beautiful studio and it seems like, I'm back at home because all my uncles would have a guitar in their hand and, they'd pull them out during a big party, and it would just be like, a big concert, and
endless serenades.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And sure enough, at a certain age, once my family saw my, kind of passion and love for music, it was always like, Manuelito tiene que cantar, so they'd always pull me up onto, I'd stand on one of the tables or whatever, and my dad and my uncles would play and I would sing along with them. And it was just, that was kind of the way I grew up in my house.
I love that. So Manolito, Miguelito, I used to get it all the time.
There you go. Yeah, everything's
Yeah. So what age did you start taking music and, did you start singing first, guitar?
Yeah,
what happened?
I mean, we have videos literally of, way back when we all used to do those home videos, which I think we should really get back to. Yes. We have videos of me singing when I was like 3 years old, and I'm wearing a little cowboy hat. My dad's sitting there, on the coffee table playing his guitar, and I'm just standing there stiff as a board, but singing away, and these old Mexican classic songs, and just it's really pretty impressive to this day, that being, a musician, being a singer, being a songwriter now, looking back on that and just kind of saying, wow, it's impressive to me to see where I kind of started out and how it all started out. I really can appreciate it, and I just appreciate the fact that my family allowed me to, kind of take that first step in that direction.
That's incredible. So you were born in San Jose, and then you said you did a stint back in Mexico City. Around when was that? What age
so I did
you?
Basically all my elementary school in Mexico City.
Okay.
So yeah, I was, first through sixth grade or whatnot. But during that time, music really took off for me. I was actually part of what was the Mexican National Choir. So we performed all throughout the country in different states. And one of the highlights really of that experience was the fact that I got the chance to sing for Pope John Paul II on his 4th visit to Mexico City.
That's incredible,
yeah,
dude.
It was really something amazing. I mean, I was just a little kid. I don't think, maybe at the time I realized how important and how amazing that was. But I really just remember, looking around and seeing different girls and guys in the choir, older than myself, just breaking down into tears, just completely as he was coming down, the steps of the airplane. And I was just a little kid, and I thought, wow, this is just so cool. I just sang my heart out that day. But now looking back on it, it was just such an amazing experience.
Yeah, that sounds like kind of a spark that really.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely a big part in my career where, even though, like I said, maybe I didn't realize it at the time. It definitely, stood out in my mind. It stood out in my career at that point. As young as I was, that was a kind of a really starting point.
Right. So yeah, that had to be surreal performing for the Pope. And like you said, you were so young, you might not have realized it, but it still had an impact. Yeah,
it definitely did. I mean, it was just a starting point. I mean, I look back to it all the time, nowadays, and I just say, wow, it's just what an amazing start to my career. It was a blessing. I really see it as that.
Of course. Now, earlier you were telling me something about you would come back to Mexico City. Now you were back in the States. You go back and forth, and then you did a show in Vegas.
Yeah, we did. We did a big talent showcase in Vegas, and so many different artists performing at this conference. And I was just a little kid. And finally my slot comes up, I get the chance to perform, and it's not like, I have a big band behind me or anything. It's just me, my sister who danced for different, a few different songs on stage, and some backing tracks, basically.
How old were you roughly?
I think I was about like 10 or 11.
Okay.
Yeah, about 10 or 11 years old. So, this all happens, and all of a sudden, out of the crowd, I didn't even really notice until I had finished performing. But this guy comes up to the stage, and all of a sudden you just see all these cameras around him, and he's wearing kind of this, I don't know, this hat, this big hat, and kind of like a big coat, and and my grandpa actually describes it the best. He says he lifted his arms, and the coat went off his shoulders, but the coat never touched the ground. Someone was right there to grab the coat, and that really impressed him.
Today's definition of swag.
That's right,
yeah,
swag. He had swag, definitely. Still has it to this day, actually. So it was Narda Michael Walden. He came up to my dad, to myself, and he just said that, I heard your voice from a distance, and I had to come over and see who was singing, what this angelic voice was, where was it coming from, and he invited us to his studio in California, which very close to where we were in San Rafael. So we went out to Tarpan Studios, met with him, ended up working with him a little bit and whatnot. But that was just yet another achievement, another experience, another step in my career, the kind of saying, you guys are doing the right stuff, because at this point it was just kind of, a little kid and his parents kind of saying, well, we want you to hear my son, but now it was like, there's some real people giving you guys attention, and kind of, it was just very inspirational for us.
Yeah, that's a great impetus for an amazing career. So 11, 12, that's the perfect age, actually.
Yeah.
All right, so for the younger audience, tell us about your experience with Narda Michael Walden as recording and with his legacy. I mean, he's recorded and written for some of the greatest artists in the world.
Yeah.
So those who might not be familiar.
I mean, just working with someone of that, the amount of talent that he has, and the amount of experience, for me to start at such a young age. And even to this day, I get messages from Narda on Instagram or whatever. He sees a picture that he likes, and he says, he'll just give some sort of inspirational comment or whatnot. And, he's just such a beautiful person. And I think that, the chance that I got to start working with him and learn from him, see how a song starts with just the guitar, and how he takes that and just, his brain works a different way. He can just take nothing and make it into this, smash hit, and
that's right.
And he knows how to build a tune. He knows how to give it the little extra push it needs, So as a musician, as a singer, as a songwriter, I took a lot away from him, took a lot, from him in the way that I learned how to build those moments in a song, the moments that people, you're listening to it, and then all of a sudden, man, those chills run up your back, or you get it in your skin.
It's that big picture vision.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And that's what's so important.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
To make a song really hit home, like you said.
Exactly.
Okay, so you had that experience. Then what happened? You're 11, 12, preteens. Were you always playing guitar and singing?
Yeah,
accompanying yourself?
At this point is when I started kind of learning how to play the guitar. My dad was the one that really taught me how to sing. Taught me how to. Well, I mean, he pointed me in the right way because I mean, I already knew how to sing. I had the ear, I had the voice.
I was just going to ask, was it more literal or more kind of guidance, coaching?
Yeah,
hey,
I think it was
definitely
definitely guidance because I mean. I would hear them sing or I would hear him play the guitar and I would sing along with him.
Right.
So, one of the things that I find the hardest to kind of teach someone else, how do you teach someone to hear a note or hear a key? It's really, hard to teach.
It's that old adage, like you can't really teach that.
Yeah. I mean, you can maybe teach them how to put their fingers on the right strings on the guitar or play the right keys on the piano. But how do you teach them how to hear the right key that a song is in? It's really difficult.
It's got to be in the heart. It's got to be in the soul.
Yeah. So my dad, that's what he always says is that I knew that my son was in the right key. He could hear what I was playing. He could sing the right key, and he just kind of molded me, I guess you can say.
Right, and we call that having a good ear. You can always hear things.
Yeah.
So that's really important.
Yeah.
Okay, so then what was the next step towards your professional career as a musician?
So shortly after, going back with Narda, we actually produced a few tracks at that time, and we kind of tried to see what was the avenue that we really wanted to go in. And it ended up working out that it really wasn't in the style of music that Narda was producing with me. While it was great music, and I still have it on my computer to this day, and I listen back to it, I'm like, man, what could have happened if we really could have done this, Yeah.
But it's very mature, the fact that you could zoom out and objectively say, okay, I don't think this is the direction. So let's talk about that as an artist. How did you figure that out? Your direction as an artist and who you are to be true to yourself.
It's not just about me. It's about how do other people hear me, and how do other people see me? Because the image is, also
That's
half
true.
the battle.
That's true.
So it just ended up working out that, I grew up singing Spanish music. I grew up singing mariachi, trio, and my dad also. My dad taught me all these different styles of music, but he also listened to the Bee Gees. He also listened to the Beatles. He also listened to Journey. All these different types of styles of music. Yeah,
that's good.
But Mexican music was always at the heart. So we ended up being able to get in touch with Warner Music Latina. And we did I had done a mariachi festival showcase or mariachi festival basically, and they got a hold of a video where I was singing songs like México Lindo y Querido and Si Nos Dejan by José Alfredo Jiménez, and if you saw this video, it's just you hear the notes and they're just so pure. They're just it was I'm not trying to make it something that it's not. It's just, it was very beautiful for a musician to look back on it. You just say, wow, it was nice,
Absolutely. I'd love to include any links in the notes section.
I have a very cool
links.
video that has, kind of the mariachi side of my career.
Oh, that would be so cool.
I'd love to share that with you for sure.
Yeah, that's peering into history.
Exactly,
exactly. Yeah. So I'm sorry, for the listeners who might not be familiar, explain the difference between the genres of mariachi and trio. And I know, like, Trios Los Panchos is one of my favorite bands in the world.
Yeah,
right?
You, of course. I'm sure.
But explain the differences, maybe instrument-wise.
Yeah,
so a mariachi band typically has...
Well, mariachi is always like a guitar and another instrument that's similar to the guitar or looks similar, but it's just a lot smaller. It's called a vihuela. And then the guitarrón, which would be the bass.
The bass.
Then you have trumpets, a couple trumpets, 3 trumpets, violin. Yeah. And then when you get into some fancier mariachis, you'll get the harp in there and different, stuff like that.
I didn't realize they would have harp, too.
It would be really nice
cool.
if all mariachis had it, but
right.
That's pretty fancy, but it just gives it such a beautiful sound. But then trio is obviously 3 guitars or 2 guitars and a bass, whatnot. But and
they typically sing in harmony. Pretty much.
Beautiful harmonies. Yeah.
That's so cool that you have that history, that musical history ingrained in you.
Yeah, and then obviously there's banda in the Mexican culture, where banda is all wind instruments, and it's very, very popular nowadays. I mean, it's kind of the new pop for Mexican culture. I mean, it's very, very popular. I remember living in Mexico City when banda really hadn't hit in Mexico City. It was still kind of like, that's not really our style. Nowadays, I mean, it's everywhere. Yeah. I mean, it's so big, and even the music that we're producing nowadays is mariachi, but then it also includes the accordion. Which maybe comes from some of the northern states, whatnot, but those come from the norteño bands. That is, maybe like a bajo sexto, which is the 12-string guitar.
I love the bajo sexto.
I mean, it just has such a cool sound. Yeah, and the way,
but it's tuned deeper.
Yeah, and the way the chords are played too. I mean, it's really, really cool. And then you obviously have the upright bass. That's
one guitar I don't have in the studio, a bajo sexto. Yeah, I gotta get one.
We need to get that in here, man.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's just there's so many different styles of music, or many ways to play the regional Mexican sound. And you can take the same song, play it 3-4 different ways, and that's the beauty of it.
That is the beauty of music. And I love that you have all of this musical knowledge and experience so that you can kind of experiment with that.
Yeah.
So okay, let's fast forward from all of these experiences to today. You just mentioned, what kind of music and projects are you producing today? What is your focus? You spent all this time honing it and figuring it out. So where did you land?
We landed with this beautiful project that we're doing right now. Okay. I have 5 tracks that are recorded under my new label, which is Warner Music Mexico. And I'm so fortunate to be able to work with a producer by the name of Rodrigo Cuevas. He's the son of a legendary vocalist, singer, interpreter of the Mexican music. She's an ambassador, really. Her name is Aida Cuevas. So this is her son, who is a great musician, great producer. I'm working with him to and we've created this sound, taking the mariachi instruments, taking the accordion, taking some a little bit of a pop sound almost, because we have some drums in there, we have some electric guitars here and there. I mean, it's just it's very respectful to the culture, to the music, to the essence of mariachi music, but it's also bringing that fresh sound, that little kick, that kind of brings the young culture in.
Yes.
And it's just what I love about it the most is the fact that it's fresh. It's just different than what everyone else is doing.
Right. It's bridging the gap. Really,
yeah. It's filling that space that we needed.
Okay. Let's talk about that. So, what is the plan for this 5-song EP? When can we hear it? Where is it going to be available? You signed with the new label. Tell us a little bit about that process.
Yeah. And I mean, it's something that for me, honestly, it's a dream come true. I'm as a singer-songwriter, as a just a guy who just loves music, and I've been doing it for since I was a little kid. As obviously, if you guys have been listening, for a long time, it's just so nice to be with a team, with a group of people that we're kind of just all on the same page.
You have the same goals.
Yeah, exactly. The label's been great. My management team has been great. We all just kind of, like I said, we all have the same goal. We all have the same. We all see the finish line, or not the finish line. We all see the next step.
The target.
Because the finish line is way, way down the line.
Yeah, life is a journey, not a marathon.
Yeah, exactly.
Take your time, we'll get there. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So,
okay, I like that.
So these songs are amazing. And,
do we have a projected release date yet?
Well, that was the next thing. We have 2 singles out already.
Okay, fantastic.
Te Vuelvo a Besar, which is the first single that we released. That's available on all the platforms. It's on YouTube. Yes. You can listen to it anywhere, worldwide. And then Aquí Me Tienes is the second one. Going back to Te Vuelvo a Besar, that's a song that I wrote. And that's another thing that's so cool for me, being on this new label, having my song chosen to be the release.
Right. That's a big deal.
It's really, really cool.
Like not a cover song.
No,
yes, your
exactly.
original. Yes.
And I've always been, I've been writing, music for a long time. And I just believe that the best song should be out there. I'm not selfish. I am not conceited. I'm not just me. I want the best song. I want to sing the best song.
That's right.
So that's one of the first things that I wanted to make sure that was clear to my team, to the label. Let's just get the best music out there, because I want the best chance,
Right.
And just the fact that everyone came together and said, this is the one we want.
That's
and
awesome.
it was my song, and I said, wow, that's really, it made me feel so special inside.
Of course.
And then on top of that, I get the chance to sing this song as a duet with a very talented artist, Leslie Grace.
Oh, that's right. Eric was telling me about that.
So that's just kind of the the icing on top of the cake.
Yes,
for me.
yes, absolutely. Okay, all right. So, are you going to release the EP towards the end of the year as a whole project? You're going to keep doing singles till then?
We have these 5 singles already recorded. The EP will be released. We don't have an exact date, but it will be released this year.
But so your fans can just keep following you and download.
Yeah,
or
please. I mean,
keep streaming the singles as they come out.
Exactly. Yeah, we hope to have another one soon, but we just released the latest one, which is called Aquí Me Tienes, and it's again another beautiful song. But yeah, we have these 5, and I'm working already on more. I mean, the plan is to always keep going.
That's right.
One thing that I learned from I went to years ago to what was the Grammys in the schools in the Bay Area, and I had the chance to meet a songwriter named John Kane, and he told me, he said, man, just make sure you're always writing, make sure you always have the next thing kind of ready to fire, because once you take off, you're not going to have time to be sitting there and writing songs and get inspired. Have stuff ready and loaded, man.
Yeah.
So
Have it in the pipeline,
I took that to heart and said, man, I'm going to take advantage of the time that I do have, and we got to get to work, and it's kind of been the mentality ever since.
Being a career musician is more than just gigs and sessions. Are you a career musician? Find out on the Career Musician Podcast, streaming everywhere.
This is the Career Musician Podcast with your host, Nomad.
So that's Manuel Romero now, and this is the trajectory that you're on, the path. I love it. It's amazing. We skipped a section. Let's go back a little bit. Yeah. If you may, if you don't mind, America's Got Talent.
Yeah.
Would you want to talk about that?
Sure.
Tell us your experience.
I'm an open book.
Okay, cool. Thank you. We appreciate that. Yeah. I'm sure your fans appreciate the vulnerability of hearing you talk about all these experiences. So, 2 questions, 2-part. What prompted you to say, you know what, I'm going to go for America's Got Talent? And then second, what was the experience like once you got there?
I think that around that time, it was kind of when the whole reality TV scene was kind of taken off, or at least it had kind of caught a lot of our attention. And I even think that just some fans had reached out to us and said, like, hey, why don't you go on this show? Why don't you try out? And we kind of said, well, we don't know. We weren't too sure about it. But then we said, what the heck? What are we going to lose? So right. I went out and auditioned. There was an audition in San Francisco at the time. And so I was able to go there, and they heard me sing, and they said, okay, yes, we want you. You're going to go to LA, and you're going to audition in LA. Okay, so then they set us up. By that time, I was 18 already, so it was no more mom and dad flying with you or anything like that. So here you go. That was kind of like that was kind of the first experience of me kind of going off on my own, and
your maiden voyage.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. I went out there, sang My Sharia More for the judges, and it was a great reaction. I sang it a cappella.
Nice.
It was a nerve-wracking experience. That's you kind of see how everyone was very, very friendly, very nice. Right. But they're also I can tell they want to capture that moment of, man, you're really nervous. You're really sweating it before going out on stage. And to be honest with you, I mean, I had always kind of been the type of guy that I do get nervous. You get a little.
It's what you do,
You
though.
get a little nerves.
Yeah,
you get a little nerves, but that's kind of what you need to.
Right.
I feel like if you don't get a little bit, or maybe it's not nerves or just butterflies, whatever.
You have
it
to
is.
have a little bit of
if
that.
you don't have that, then
Yeah.
you shouldn't be there. You're not excited to go out there.
But at the same time, you don't let it take over.
Take over. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's like
You're still in control.
Exactly. You know what? When I would sing the national anthem for some sports teams, I used to do, or still do for the Niners, Raiders, A's, all the Bay Area sports teams. When we lived there, my dad would always tell me, you have a minute and a half to go out there and either be great or be So you can either be nervous and go out there and do a crappy job, and no one's gonna
right,
or be out and be great,
outstanding,
and it is true. You just got to conquer those nerves and go out there and do your thing.
That's very true, man. Okay, so on especially reality TV, but all TV, it's a lot of hurry up and wait. So tell the listeners a little bit about that. I know anytime you're on a TV set, it's long days, right? What time was call time on set?
I mean, that was so long ago. It's kind of hard to remember, but I mean, I've been on a few different of those type of shows. So I mean, and they're basically all the same. Call time. I mean, I remember sometimes you'd be there maybe like in the lobby at 6 or 7 in the morning.
I was going to say 7 a.m. That's right.
And they'd take you to the studio. You'd get to the studio. You'd maybe have some coffee or whatever.
Craft services a little bit.
And you would not do anything. I mean, literally not do anything as as a singer until maybe 3, 4 o'clock.
I was going to say 2 o'clock. That's right. So I want the listeners to get an idea of what it's like.
Yeah, it's very tough. It's not hard where it's just like you said, hurry up.
A lot of waiting around.
Yeah.
And what do you do with that free time? You have to keep yourself occupied, right?
Yeah.
So you keep your mind occupied if you're writing a song or if you're doing some business. You just have to stay busy.
Yeah. You have to. Yeah. Some people fall asleep. Some people, some people sing all day long.
Right. That's
that could if it works, it wears you out. It's just everyone's different. So I mean, I was always the kind of guy that just. Luckily, I always had my guitar, so I always had something to do.
Perfect.
But yeah, it's definitely tiring because you're just sitting around all day.
Right.
And when they call your name,
you have to be on.
You better be ready.
That's right.
You better be ready to go because you only get one shot.
That's right.
Hey, let me get a test run. No, you better be ready to go.
Crush it on take one.
Yeah,
that's right.
Exactly.
This is the perfect segue. Tell us a little bit about your principles and methods. What are some of the things that you believe got you to this point? What are some of the principles and methods that you adhere to?
Just staying true to who you are, really. I mean, along the ways you get influenced by different musicians, different singers, different styles. I think just really staying true to who you are. And not only maybe your technique or your style of singing, but your personality. The person that you are. Because it's really easy to sometimes look at someone and say, well, I like the way that, and that can throw you off, when you step on the stage, because it's, at the end of the day, it's you that's stepping on there. It's not someone else, So
don't try to emulate people. Don't be contrived.
Just, appreciate, learn from others, but always be the guy that got you to where you are,
That's right.
Because if not, what's the point?
Yeah.
That's one big thing for me, and I've really tried to do that my whole career. Whether it be performing, whether it be writing, I try to stay true to myself.
Right. On a daily, do you practice? And if so, what do you practice?
I mean, I sing so much, whether it be performing, different events, whatnot, that, you can take songs. That kind of as a practice.
Right,
I mean, I think it's just it's staying active, keeping my voice going all the time.
That's right.
But I'm always, my typical morning is waking up, grabbing a cup of coffee and picking up my guitar and strumming a few chords.
Nice.
See what happens. See if I come up with something. Music is just, if I get in the car and drive if I from San Jose drive to LA, takes me 5 hours to get here. I'm singing 5 hours.
That's right.
It's just like,
that's perfect.
it's just it's natural.
Yeah.
And that's how that's kind of how I practice. That's kind of how I keep my voice going, keep my voice fresh. But the stuff that I learned along the way, being in the choir, I learned a lot of technique. I learned a lot of breathing. I had some very good vocal coaches throughout the years.
I was going to ask you that next.
Yeah.
Okay.
I picked up a lot of really great stuff that I think that, when I guess when you get to a certain level or whatnot, if once someone teaches you something, it's like you really do keep it, and I remember those things. And I keep some stuff even on my phone sometimes if I have a question, or if I'm struggling with something. I've learned some beautiful techniques from a very dear friend of mine in the Bay Area. His name's Raz Kennedy. Great vocal coach. And I met him actually through Narda.
Oh, excellent.
So it was everything in my career has been kind of like someone sets you up with the next step, and it's just it's been beautiful in that way.
We're it's like a close but distant family relation in the music business, right?
Exactly.
We're all connected in some way,
and it's beautiful because everyone appreciates talent. You see someone who's talented, and it's. You don't say, I want to stay away from. No, I want to be close to that person.
Right.
So and that's what's beautiful about us singers, musicians.
Right.
You want to. It's a community. It's a family.
That's right. And the higher up the chain you go, the more talent, the bigger the talent, the more humble they seem to be, and that's a beautiful thing.
It is.
And so I love your humility. That is really awesome. So thank you for that. Another great segue. So you told us a little bit. You wake up, you get a cup of coffee, you start playing. Talk about health and lifestyle. How do you keep yourself in shape? You're in great shape, good-looking dude. You're out there hustling, performing all the time. You're on the run. I mean, what do you do to stay in shape?
I love to run.
Oh, good.
I literally love to run. That's
Nice.
my favorite exercise. I have 2 big Dobermans at the house, and I take those guys for a run. So that's my main source of exercise. But I also do, I like to do cardio. So I watch some videos online sometimes, and just, you'll see me in my living room just doing back and forth stuff. And
Oh, wow, yeah.
So it's cool in that way. I love to play soccer. I've always been very active in that way. But eating, I can't say I'm the healthiest eater. I grew up in a Mexican family, man. It's really hard.
Oh, man.
So my brother's a great chef.
Yeah.
We a family gathering entails of tacos and enchiladas, and maybe a couple beers or whatever. So it's
beans and rice.
So it's difficult sometimes to be super healthy. Although I do have to say my sister is kind of gearing me in that way or steering me that way. She is the healthiest eater I've ever met.
Oh, okay.
And she has, very good self-control, because she'll see us eating those tacos, and she's over here eating a little bowl of kale or whatever, and I'm like, man, I need to get on your level,
right? Yeah. I'm Cuban Italian, so I grew up in a household eating big meals. I get it. Trust me, I get it. All right, well, that's good, but you are staying active, and that's really important. So shifting gears, tell us a little bit about business acumen. What do you think it takes today, in today's day and age, with the music industry the way it is? Because let's face it, it's shifted so much, right?
Yeah.
Over the years. What does it take? Business skills. What are some of the things you've done, or some of the things that you've adhered to? You have a wonderful management team who's sitting right here, by the way, for the interview. Hey, management team. They are all fantastic. I've been interfacing with them for a couple weeks now, and they are wonderful. But let's say there's, up and coming artists out there who are wondering, wow, how did Manuel do it? How did he get a management team? How did he get to get a record deal? How does he get to go on tour and to release all these songs? Some of the business principles that you might adhere to.
The industry is changing so much.
Right. By the minute, it seems like.
And it's from the time that I started, it's amazing, to see how the changes. And I have a wonderful, beautiful management team that can, speak on that way more than I can.
Right.
They've been at the top for a long, long time, and I'm just blessed to have them in my corner at this point in my career.
Amen. Not good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And business wise, I mean, it's just trying to stay on the edge, you know, make sure you're always with what the latest is right now. Social media, you know, I mean, you got to work it. And it's, I've been even learning that still today.
Right.
That is my business. You know, you have to treat it like a job. Maybe sometimes not just getting up in the morning and playing my guitar is enough anymore. You know, writing a great song is not enough anymore. Now I got to work the social media. Now I got to work the different angles.
Do a story.
Yeah, because people want to know what's going on.
They want to know what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah. So staying current. You know. Staying on top of what's going on in the world.
Right.
Obviously, you know, if you want to have a great strategy for your career, what you want to portray to your public, what you want to portray to your fans. Right. But you know, also it's a lot of unfortunately being at the right place at the right time. I've been in so many places where it seems like, man, this is my big break. This is where, you know, I'm gonna kick this door open and here we go. World, get ready for Manuel Romero. And then all of a sudden it's like, man, something happens and it doesn't.
Wasn't what you quite expected it to be. Yes.
But at the same time, you learn from that. You know, I used to, you know, sometimes you get tired of saying, well, everything happens for a reason, right? But I think what the most important thing after that is just don't give up. I mean, if you really truly believe in yourself, if you really truly love what you're doing, don't give up. Because the second that you do, and you hang up that guitar, or you put down that pen that you're writing the song with, or I guess phone nowadays, because I haven't picked up a pen in a long time.
That's out on your notes. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But the second you say that's it, and you're just going to be so miserable.
It could be an opportunity missed.
And it is an opportunity missed, and you're just not going to be satisfied.
Right.
Don't give up. You know, that's been the main thing in my career is do not give up.
Consistency, diligence, perseverance, faith, belief in yourself, right?
Yeah. But and I mean, really, from the business standpoint, look for the right people to surround you. Your team is really everything. I mean, from the very beginning, my family has been very supportive of me, and they've been my team. My dad was, my manager since I was a little kid. You know, I mean, he would be on the phone. Hey, please let my son sing at this event. You know, do this and that. He took me to as far as he could,
and it takes that,
and it does take that. It does take that. And you know, now, like I said, I mean, I'm so blessed to have Jose Bejar and Alfonso Larriba and Lorena Fusilier in my corner. You know, there's such a beautiful team, just a team that believes in me, and that can we can together go to that next level. You know, and I think that that's what it takes. You know, it really takes just a team around you that you guys all have the same vision, and together you kind of take that to the next level.
That's a beautiful thing, man. Those great words of wisdom. So, look, I mean, that is the perfect wrap to the business segment of this interview. I have a couple other questions I'm going to ask you in a second. But before, do you care to share any about your family life, your personal life? I understand you have a new addition to the family?
We do, yeah. We have a little one, and now...
Congratulations.
Yeah, not crawling around yet, but yeah, new addition to the family,
That's
little
awesome.
Juliana.
Excellent.
Thank
Congratulations on that.
I appreciate that so much. Thank you.
And these days, you're out in Arizona?
Yeah, I live in Arizona, but, I was in the Bay Area for a long time, Mexico City. I always say, as long as I'm close to an airport and I can get on an airplane,
Bro, you're a modern day nomad. Come on. That's it. As musicians, we're all nomadic, right?
That's right.
This is what we do.
That's right.
That's awesome. All right, if you don't mind, I want to ask you a few rapid fire questions.
Sure.
So I don't really want you to think about it too much.
Okay.
See if you can just tell me. And I'm going to pick and choose because you've already answered a few things. Like one of them is your favorite food, but you already answered that.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
we'll skip that one.
All right.
Perhaps this is a good one to start. The most ridiculous thing that has ever happened to you on a gig. Outlandish, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened.
One's easy. One time I had a gig in San Francisco. I was going to sing the national anthem for a big HBO fight. And my mom that morning took my suit to the dry cleaners because, you know, we wanted me to look good on TV and everything.
Oh, I hear the suspenseful music already.
Little did she know that, you know, she took my grandpa's suit also. And now, so at this point in my career, I'm like, I don't know, like 13, 14 years old. So, I mean, you're talking very little Manuel, very scrawny Manuel. Nothing compared to my, you know, big grandpa. And this is on my mom's side. So we're talking a Viking, you know, so a big guy. So we get to the Coliseum or whatever it was, and we're in the dressing room, and the card girls are in there, you know. So I'm kind of like, you know, this little kid kind of looking around like, what the heck, Mom, you know. And she's hanging my suit up, and okay, stud, come on, okay, it's time to get ready. Wouldn't it be funny if these were Grandpa's pants? As she holds them up and looks, and then we're like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? There was no way we were going to get my suit there. I put my grandpa's pants on to go and sing. It looked like I was wearing a zoot suit, you know.
Just string them up real tight with the belt, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
I hung out with George Foreman that night with Floyd Mayweather.
George Foreman.
That was one of the first Floyd Mayweather fights when he won the championship. He fought against one of the Chavez's.
That's another incredible moment, man, for your career. Wow.
Yeah, so that was...
you sang.
Yeah.
Incredible. Okay, moving on. Dream collaboration. Any artist, dead or alive. If you can call somebody back from the past, or if somebody here.
There's so many. You know, I would love to be able to sing with Elvis.
Elvis, that's cool. Look at that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, but still living, I would love to sing with Paul McCartney.
See, I like that. Those are two good ones.
Yeah.
I actually did a track for Barbra Streisand on her Partners album where it was Barbara and Elvis singing. They got Elvis's vocals from the vault.
Wow.
And we sang, we played Love Me Tender. Oof. So I'm doing the guitars on that song
that's awesome.
with Elvis and Barbara. It was trippy in the studio when I'm listening to the both of them sing.
Yeah.
Especially Elvis.
Yeah.
It kind of freaks you out.
Oh, I bet.
You know? So that was cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I gotta say, on the Hispanic side or on the Mexican side,
yeah,
you know, because again, it's just my different, you know, taste in music. But Pedro Infante and probably like Trio Los Panchos, you know, something like that.
Panchos, man.
Those are the songs that just I love. Oh, yeah, and do some of the
I
harmonies, you know.
Oh man, I love that stuff. That's so awesome. All right, moving on. You already told me how you like to spend your free time, whatnot. When you're on a long flight, what do you like to do to kill time on a long flight?
Well, if I can watch a movie, I will watch a movie.
Yeah, it's like your downtime, right?
Yeah, but you know, lately what I've been doing is I listen to my memo recordings on my iPhone. You know, just little ideas that I've had, and
again, multitasking,
exactly,
staying on the business.
I look back, and I like to look back to the old ones, you know, because then I'm like, oh man, when did I come up with this,
right?
and why didn't I keep going, you know?
Right.
So that's what I like to do.
That's awesome. What's the last song you listened to in a playlist? I won't ask you a favorite because that's hard, but what have you listened to recently?
I've listened
That's not yours.
Oh man, see, I was gonna say I was just listening. That's all I'm listening to right now because I'm trying to get into it.
Because you're in the studio getting it down. Yeah.
No, the last stuff that it's really the same stuff that I always listen to. But I listen to a lot of Barry White stuff.
Oh, nice.
You know, again, the Beatles.
Okay.
I love country music.
So tell us about some of those.
I love Luke Combs. A lot of his new stuff.
Very cool.
But I go back. I'm just so all over the place that literally, if you look at my playlist, I mean, we'll go from Michael Jackson to, you know, George Strait, to then, you know, Los Panchos, to Pedro Infante, all these different styles of music, and then you're just like, what the heck, you know?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What are you digging on TV right now? Streaming TV or movies? Any?
I
series
like one of my go-tos is always Modern Family. I love Modern Family. Yeah. Phil's kind of my dude.
Oh, nice.
You know, and a lot of people can vouch, or not vouch, but say kind of relate to that, where they say, yeah, Manuel's kind of completely clueless like Phil, you know. So I say, yeah, well, it's okay.
That's awesome. Listen, if you weren't a musician anymore, if you were no longer a career musician, what would you do?
I'd love to play soccer. I could definitely see myself being an athlete, being a soccer player. I love sports, so that's definitely something that if I would have, maybe dove more into that, maybe I could be doing that.
So
but
soccer's your favorite sport?
Soccer's my favorite sport, but I love all sports, and I just love to be active. But, I also really admire, for like maybe being like a firefighter or a police officer or something like that. It's just something where you're kind of thinking and you're active, you're on the go,
cool.
That's the type of person I am.
You have plans for Super Bowl Sunday?
Oh yeah, we're gonna be at the house watching it with a whole bunch of friends and family.
There you go.
like we always do.
That's awesome. Yeah, man, Manuel, I am so excited to have you here on the show. Thank you for being a guest. You are the utmost professional dude, the epitome of what I consider to be a career musician and a career artist. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. And I really just appreciate the opportunity to be on this podcast with you and to meet you. I have to admit, I went on, listened to your music, your beautiful playing and everything. And it's just, it's an honor for me to be in the same room with such a talented musician as yourself. So thank you.
Well, vice versa, bro. Right back at you.
Thank you.
And
I hope we can jam.
We're going to jam a little bit. Hopefully that all works out. But again, we'll keep tabs on you. Where can everybody find you on social medias? Instagram, Facebook,
yeah, please,
website?
On Instagram, it's Manuel Romero _official. Facebook is Manuel Romero Música. And then obviously on YouTube, you can find my videos. You can search all my music on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, all the platforms. Just anywhere you go, type in Manuel Romero, type in Te vuelvo a besar, which means, for those of you that don't speak Spanish, I kiss you again. Yes. And then Aquí Me Tienes is the latest one.
The two new singles.
New singles. Please, send me a message on Instagram. I love to interact with people. I was
just going to say, on the real, if a fan wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do that?
Send it on Instagram.
Instagram,
yeah,
DM?
Instagram.
Okay.
I'm always on Instagram. But send it on Facebook. If Facebook is your favorite place to send messages, send it there too, because I always check it, and I love to interact with fans. Or I just love to interact with people who are music lovers, and that if they appreciate my stuff, hey, I'm a fan of you.
That's right. I just consider fans to be extended family.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? That's the bottom line.
Yep.
Once again, thank you so much, brother.
Thank you.
I'm just a nomad, nowhere man, writing the songs in this one-man band. A nomad, yeah, I'm a nomad. Hush now, darling, you'll be fine. I'll be back this way sometime. Until then, baby, don't you cry. 'Cause I'll be calling.
Hey, this is Nomad, host and creator of the Career Musician Podcast, and I am thoroughly stoked to be an official member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Pantheon Podcast Network is the first of its kind as an all-music-based podcast collective. Please be sure to check us out at pantheonpodcast.com for more info.